y'all, it's Hope here at Crafty Hope, and welcome. I am working in my clean slate journal. This is just a junk journal I made as one of my Crafty Hope prompts projects, and my friend Nina suggested that I use it for her clean slate journal project, and I am so glad she did because y'all, this is a great project that encourages you to just jump in your journal and play without any prompts or anything else. Just grab those things that you're aching to use and use them. And I so much have needed this between my 100-day project, my Crafty Hope prompts, and right now the Ugly Art Club's 5-minute challenge is going on. And all of those are kind of like need to make things. Meanwhile, this clean slate journal project is just kind of a do what feels right to you, not having to think about what needs to be included and what you should do and those kind of things. So I ended up with a junk journal spread here that I absolutely adore. So, what am I doing? This is, it was 2 pages in here from books. The one on the left was kind of slick, so I knew I wanted to cover that up. And so I'm just continuing that little bit of collage over on the right. This is just various book pages and some acrylic matte medium with a paintbrush. There I'm bringing in, that's a stack of ephemera pack that I got from Ricky Tikki Tavi, who is a good friend of Nina's, like in-person real life friend, y'all, not just one of our online friends like I am with Nina and Ricky. So I encourage you to check both of them out. But I brought in that stack. I just got that stack of ephemera from Ricky, and y'all, I have so much paper that I really didn't need to get one of Ricky's ephemera packs, but they're so packed with so much awesome that I just had to. I was like, yeah, there's going to be stuff in here I like, and it's such a good variety. So there's my little pitch for Ricky. Check her out. I think the only thing I ended up using was just this one little, like, I don't know what you would call it, like a receipt slip, some kind of sales receipt thing there. If you saw, I stuck down a little piece of fabric. That's just something had gotten snipped off one of my 100-day projects, I'm sure, and was sitting on the side of my desk, and I thought, hey, let's add some texture in here. So I'm flipping through some of these other things from Ricky. Oh, y'all, this one cracked me up so much. How to cook for a man. Really, y'all, come on, Bird's Eye. Do better. So I'm sure that was straight from the 70s or 80s. Oh no, I grabbed this little thing too, which was like a bill from the phone company or something, and I'm going to use just a little edge of it over here on the left. But like I said, this journal ends up, y'all, this has got to be one of my favorite journal spreads ever. I've probably said that about other ones, but I've got it open on my desk near me, and I keep looking at it going, ooh, this is pretty. So yeah. Oh, no, there's more of Ricky's. She included a bunch of different, like, dictionary pages and different language pages from different books. And I think that's some language I don't know there. So, yeah, I'm putting these things wherever, trying to use them, because what's the point of buying these fabulous, wonderful bits of ephemera if I don't use them? And I haven't been using them except maybe a little bit in my mini assemblages, but yeah. Okay, so that is all down. I'm going to dry it real quick, and then what do? I can't remember. We're going to see. Oh, I brought in some Lindy's sprays. So there are two of my favorite colors. This one is, I think, Tibetan Poppy Teal, and this one is Steampunk Sepia. And I think that I've got those right. And I kind of spray them just kind of all over the page. Like I said, I was just working with colors that felt right to me. Blues and browns are always safe bets for me. So I sprayed those around a little bit, moved them around. I'm going to add a little bit of water, but I didn't want to lose a whole lot of that color. And I keep trying to clean out that crease in the middle so that stuff's not gathering. So I'm going to go ahead and dry it. And from there, I was like, I want some texture. So I've got this. It is an opaque texture paste from Finnabair. It came in a pack with some other stuff. And y'all, it said opaque on that. So I thought it was going to dry white, and it does not. It dries clear. But this is a stencil from Sean Petit. I think it's called the Mums or something. I will try to put a link to it. but I'm putting that down with a little silicone brush, and I'm going to decide to put it down in a couple spots, and I'm just squirting it out of that little tube. Like I said, this was a little set I got that was Prima Marketing stuff with like black gesso, white gesso, a sand texture paste, and this opaque modeling paste that like I said, I thought it was going to dry opaque, but it ends up, I left it overnight to dry and it goes all clear on me. So that's where some of the real playing with this came in. You'll see how this progresses in a minute. But at the moment, I was feeling really good about doing this, kind of just bringing in things I never bring in and play with. And this one up here that I put down, I had flipped over the stencil, y'all, which made a whole heck of a big mess on the other side. You probably can't see it, but I was not happy with it. So I look at it for a little bit, and I'm going to end up just scraping it off because, yeah, I thought it was really gross. So I decided to go ahead. What am I going to do here? I think this is where I scrape it off because I wanted 3 of these mums on here. Just that odd number thing. So I was like, okay, well, I'll scrape this one off and I'll think about it. And I decided, okay, if I'm really, really careful, I can put what I scraped off over here on the right side. And it worked, that's kind of what some of this junk journal play is, to see what works. All right, like I said, I left that overnight to dry and it completely disappeared. So I knew I needed to take that opportunity to kind of play with the texture that was there. So I'm using some Liquitex Basics gesso, put it straight on the page, and I am putting that, using that same paintbrush to just kind of move it around, the gesso around on top of those mums. I'm going to use some papers from another book to protect my other pages, hopefully. And because I think that Lindy's is a little bit reactive, some of that gesso is going to turn that same green color, and that's fine because you can see I'm mostly covering these pages. I don't cover them completely, but I got them fairly covered. And I dried that a little bit, and I'm bringing in, this is instant coffee that I just put a little bit in this yogurt cup. I let it dry, and then I reconstitute it as I need. And when it gets low, I add more coffee. So as you saw, I reconstituted that with my distress sprayer, and I am painting over these mums with that coffee. I have found, for some reason, that this instant coffee does an amazing job of picking up texture. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but it's like my absolute favorite thing. I think it's because maybe it's thicker than some of the inks or something, but so I start with that, and then I decide to add some splatters just along the lines where I had painted, just for a little, I don't know, so it could like an ombre, like slowly integrate that coffee. And then I dry the whole thing. Now, this is what I'm bringing in is the Tim Holtz Foundry Wax. I think the one I picked out is kind of the brassy looking one. I think it's called Statue, maybe. And I'm going to show you how I apply it. It ends up not showing up. I needed something brighter on here. Maybe I think the gold one is maybe gilded or something would have worked, or the silver one. But because I'm using basically brown on top of brown, this doesn't do a great job of showing up. So all I've done is put it down on my craft sheet, and I'm using my finger to rub it over the texture of these flowers. Now with the Foundry waxes, they are a wax. They come out liquid, but as they sit in the air, they dry into a wax. You have to work pretty quickly with them. And then make sure not to put any heat near them, like your bottle of it, because that could solidify the whole thing. So I put my bottle up, and now I am heating this Foundry wax. You can kind of see in a couple places where that metallic starts popping, but it's not huge. Even like in real life, I was having trouble seeing it. Like I said, I should have gone with something a little bit brighter, but I was trying to be subtle and let that blue green kind of stick out. So I decided, okay, well, we'll see what else we can do to maybe bring out these flowers. I got some white acrylic craft paint, and I'm using a dry brush to pick up some of the texture. Again, not a great effect. I am using the dry brush as well to hit a couple spots of the coffee, just to have it blend into the page a little bit more, like there. Yeah, just where the coffee felt like extra bright and not blending in. So the white didn't do a whole lot for me. So I decided to go grab some black acrylic craft paint, and yeah. So I'm putting these straight on my underpaper, y'all. I didn't even bother getting out my paint palettes. I think I'll bring out paint palettes here in a little bit, but for now, this is how I'm doing it. So I thought I'd bring the black in, thinking, okay, well, maybe if the white didn't make that pop a little bit, the black did. And somehow, in the combination of all of this, my next couple steps, things just magic things happen. I don't know how or what the combination was that's really going to turn this magical, but it's something in this happens in just a few minutes. Just wait, y'all. So I kind of did the same thing with the black that I did with the white and rubbed around a couple of the edges with that dry brush. Yeah, I'm going to do that in just a second. I was having a hard time because it felt like, I had that big block of brown and then the blue, and it didn't feel cohesive at all. It didn't feel like it was blending. So yeah, you can see me picking it up and looking at it, and I was also looking at it in my viewfinder and going, what do I need to do? So I was like, okay, well, maybe if I start looking at a focal and putting something else on top of it, that would be nice. So I dipped into my Tim Holtz paper dolls and found this girl. I tried to put in some other pieces, but no, I really liked her. I think it was, she's so stark white, it kind of popped against the other colors in the background. So I'm inking her up. This is walnut stain distress ink, but any kind of brown would probably work. So I've got her inked up, and you can see me there going, ugh, that brown is just not working. So I grabbed that Steampunk Sepia Lindy spray and kind of spray it along that edge of the brown, and then bring in some more of that teal as well and spray that. And I'm going to let it move a little bit, and then I think I use my sprayer again, my distress sprayer, just to kind of get that to all blend. And somewhere in here, as it moves and things start happening here, yeah, so I'm going to use my finger to kind of blend some of that. But I don't know, to me, it all kind of felt like magic. Like the colors started changing and things were just beautiful. I'm sorry you didn't get a better look at it, but once it dried, once I dried it, I brought in this Ledger script stamp, also from Tim Holtz, and some stays on, just to add a little bit of additional texture. I've still got some of my papers poking up out the top there, but I wanted a little pop of black texture in the background. But you can see that page there, how it ended up blending just the way I wanted. So that that brown doesn't stand out as much. There's some kind of like almost streakiness in the flowers that I think is from the combination of acrylic paints and coffee and sprays, and just the magic of it. So I needed it to have a little more magic. So I've got my Liquitex acrylic ink in gold, and I've using a fan brush to make some splatters on here. And I decided I needed a pop of white since that girl was going on there and she was going to be white. And I have found that this chalk paint makes pretty awesome opaque white splatters. So it didn't do it as great on here, I think, because some of the water reactive things I have on this page, but it works well enough to still have that bit of white that I need along with the gold. So once I get both of those sets of splatters on there, I'm going to go ahead and dry this super quick, and we'll skip ahead. And so I've got my girl, and y'all look how it's dreamy looking. I don't even know how it's just beautiful. So I've got her, and I know I needed something else, so I grab what do I grab? No, I decided to go ahead and stick her down because I kept taking her off and putting her on, and I was like, I know where I want her, so there's no point in not just sticking her down. This is Fabri-Tac, which I think is mostly supposed to be for fabric, but it works great on some of these like heavy duty Tim Holtz products, and it also works pretty quickly. It's, I think, probably one of my favorite things is it dries fairly quickly, whereas I would normally use like a matte medium that would take a little bit longer. So that is starting to feel good. And I brought in my Tim Holtz chip quotes. Y'all, this is a total Tim Holtz page. I know. I can't help it. I love his products. But those chip quotes, I found this one that says, do what you love. And it is far too bright white. So I will ink it up as well with the same distress ink that I used on my girl. So that kind of brings some cohesion there. And it would work fine there. It would work perfectly fine. But I had a strip of some, oh, what is that? It is a Dollar Tree flour sack towel, I believe. I've been using little strips of. And as white as it was, I still really liked it because the frayed edges of it really kind of gave it like a cloud floaty feel. So I was like, yep, that's going in here. And I'm going to tear it down. Now, it hits me in a minute that the page before this, I also used a chip quote in almost the exact same spot on the page. So these are stacked on top of each other once this journal is closed, but that's okay. It maybe it's the theme. But yeah, I'll put a link in the upper right to that last page for you too. And I want you to go check out Nina's page as well and see how she is approaching this clean slate journal. All right, so I glued both of those down with that Fabri-Tac. With those chip quotes, they are really chunky. You can peel the backs off if you want, but I don't mind if this journal gets a little chunky. It kind of needs it. This, I think, is one of my last steps, and that is my Stabilo All pencil, and I am going around my girl as well as putting a little bit of like a sidewalky grounding at the bottom. And I'm going to grab a wet paintbrush and go around the whole of her, like all that stuff that I just put on there, all of that Stabilo All pencil, as make sure that I've got that little bit of like I said, like a ground, so it looks like she's standing on something and not floating because I didn't put her way at the bottom of the page. But I'm just activating this. There's a couple spots that get kind of washed out, so I'll add them back in with the Stabilo, and then that will be it for this spread. It is fairly simple, y'all, but it was so much fun to make, and it was just what I needed. No prompts, just get in my journal and play with those things that I really enjoy. So this is what I needed. So thank you, Nina, for that. Sorry, this is right here on the very last day of April. I know I just eked this in just barely, but I needed it. So hopefully there will be more playtimes to come as some of these other challenges, kind of come together. All right, guys, if you like this, make sure to give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and come back later. I know tomorrow I've got my card for week 31, so check that out. All right, guys, I will see y'all then. Bye.